Hello listeners, this is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard! Kai Havertz in the Champions League final! Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him, but it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver! Matic takes the net off!
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode...
Has anyone seen Spurs?
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in a virtual room filled with Lions. I have Berth, and I have, for one episode, maybe two episodes only, I don't know. We've got Ollie joining us from the beautiful, beautiful country that is Greece. So if you're a Greek listener listening in Greece, hello, Ollie's somewhere there, somewhere. It's a Friday show. Now, I mean, I would say, what are you looking forward to this weekend? But probably Greece. You know what? I'll go
I'm looking
to you.
forward to spending some time here.
Yeah.
I arrived yesterday. Well, I'm on the island of Kos at the moment. I'm sitting with my feet up, looking over the Mediterranean. So, and on top of that, Chelsea are absolutely massive. So,
Oh, brilliant. Oh, man. Berth, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
Well, I'm not on the island of Kos at the minute. I'm looking out my window and it's currently raining, so a bit of contrast. What am I doing this weekend? You know, it's bank holiday. I start my new job next week. It's on a Tuesday when I start. So I'm going to say that start the highlight of my weekend, just building up for that. I've been out of work for about a month or so. So, yeah, I'll probably have a few drinks and that this weekend. But it's going to be a cool one, I think, in preparation for next week, I believe.
Fair play. Look, I've got the final match day of the Championship League season. Hull, West Brom, Norwich, all fighting for a playoff spot. Only 2 from 3 can make it. And Leeds and Ipswich for the all final automatic spot. And of course, you got the relegation thingy. You know, you got Blackburn, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth and Birmingham.
I have a hot take about the Championship, and I don't know if you boys will agree with this, and not a lot of people do. I put the Championship in the top 5 leagues in the world.
I'd put it in entertainment-wise.
I think quality-wise...
Yeah, you're spot on.
I think quality-wise, I actually think it's right up there still. If you put a Leicester, Leeds, Ipswich, and there's probably a couple of other teams, I think if you put them against... in like the group stages of the Champions League, I think they'd give a lot of teams a good game. I honestly don't think it's that far off in quality, to be honest with you. It's a great league. Good league.
I'm not sure about that, but I definitely think the Championship is better than like the Dutch league.
I mean, I wouldn't put Rotherham in that because they're cut adrift at the bottom.
No.
If you wonder...
Not all the teams.
If you wonder, Huddersfield are the second from bottom on 45 points. So, not a lot of points there. Rotherham on 24.
Playing one of their fans must be horrible. You know, when they were in the Prem a few years ago, like...
Yeah, it's not been great for Huddersfield. They're pretty much down. I mean, goal difference alone is why they're down. But hey, all I know is that it's a super weekend according to Sky Sports. And they went, oh, look, Luton, Everton kick it off. Not so much super. But hey, that's just me being pathetic.
That is a big game, though. That's a big game.
No, it's not.
That's a big game.
No, it's not. Everton are safe.
Luton aren't, though. Luton can...
I don't care.
They're not mathematically safe, are they?
Everton are, yeah, and Brentford. It's only Forest that can get relegated now. So, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Sorry, just saying. Right.
But Marky, you've ruined the jeopardy of it for me.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's still a big game for... If you're a Luton fan, you're right up for that game. And
I'll be watching.
To be fair, if you're an Everton fan, after beating Liverpool, you really want to be able to send Luton down.
Right, let's hit the news. Right, let's check out the news you may have missed in the elevator at Chelsea News. Raheem Sterling remains committed to Chelsea and is settled in London. Unless he has a major U-turn, he's going to resist any exit. Chelsea are absolutely adamant that the club did not pay for a flight for Ruben Amorim to visit London last week. Jack Grealish has been internally discussed at Chelsea recently. Colwell and Nkunku might be in the squad and might come off the bench in the West Ham game this Sunday. Fluminense have presented their formal proposal to bring Thiago Silva back to Brazil. And finally, in quite an interesting bit of leaked news. Antonio Conte might, it's very loosely might, depending on how you rate the news outlet that reported it, might be heading back to Chelsea this summer. Anything particular you want to dive into there?
Actually, yeah, something else I think we missed in the news is isn't it Maren Mjelde? Is the women's team?
Yes, that's a big loss, that is.
Yeah, she's been a hardcore servant for the club as a defender, and yeah, she's been at Chelsea a long time. So it'll be sad to see her go. It feels like with Emma Hayes and stuff at the end of the season, it feels like there's a lot of sort of exoduses. It's definitely going to be a new team, and I think that will help Bompastor when she comes in.
Yeah, that's very fair. Actually, I agree there. I mean, she's been here since 2016, and I mean, how many honours you could list them off? All those WSLs, the FA Cups, the League Cups. Absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding player and a great servant. So yeah, 8 years.
I just want to say while we're talking about the women's team, is that I know you probably talked about it the other week, but that game against Barcelona, the refereeing was a disgrace.
Here's a spoiler alert for you, Ollie, and this will shock you. We spoke a lot about VAR and referees last episode.
No.
Yeah, that will surprise you. So don't worry, everything you're about to say and I've just said was covered in great detail in the last episode.
Yeah. I just thought I'd go cover it over. But you know what? If that means in 4 years the women's team win the Champions League, they've had their Obrabo moment. Who can take it away from us now?
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
For me, two quick things. I mean, the Conte thing, I'm going to be very quick on. I mean, the rumours brought chaos on social. Do I think it will happen? No. Do I want it to happen? Maybe. Purely because it would provide us good content to talk about each week. I mean, I want some handshake dramas. I want to see him welcome back Lukaku. They're best friends apparently. Shake his hand, then Randy Orton RK out of nowhere on him, and everyone's like, what? And Gary Neville's on the comms with the ooh. I mean, it would give great content. I mean, it would never happen.
That was the top impression of Marvel.
It was like Gary was sat in the chair.
Good impression. Yeah, it was a good impression.
I mean, as well, like the Raheem Sterling thing, denying that he wants to leave Chelsea. I mean, I'll be honest there. I mean, in other words, he's saying no one's going to match my salary, so I'll stay. I mean, in hindsight, I guess this should really teach us about. I mean, it was kind of a bad deal for all parties in hindsight. He's not improved since leaving City, but I mean, has he stagnated or declined? That's a tough one. I don't think any player at our club should be on over 250 grand a week right now. And we handed, I think it was over 300 to him. So that was a bit of a poor one.
325, I think.
Oh, dear. And then obviously Jack Grealish rumours, they started swirling. Yeah, I'd be open. I'd be open to a deal, but I've got to be realistic. And how close is the 100 million investment will City want back? And he's also...
Yeah, that's the question for me. It's the price. I like Jack Grealish. He's a proper sort of entertainer in terms of how football is played. But if you can get a hit so we know that, for example, Michael Olise will be on the market for about 60 million from Palace. He's, in terms of everything he does on the ball, off the ball, the talent there, how much he's making a difference in a worse team. He's just a better option. So if you can't get him for less than that, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's also on 300 grand a week at City. So instantly I see that salary and say categorically no. He's not going to lower his wage demands, and that's fair. I can't argue with that, And the idea of Grealish at Chelsea is fun. It is. It would. I feel that he'd get to have his creative freedom back that Guardiola has literally taken away. He's a good system player now. He's not what the maverick game-changing player he was at Villa. And that's
but the thing is, is that a player you'd want? Because he's been conditioned now to play in a system.
I know
that's
to be honest. If I'm honest, I think players like that always end up they kind of do it out of necessity, and they do it sort of in spite of themselves. But to be honest, that Maverick's still in there for me. I think
you'd hope.
I think if you gave him that creative freedom, I think we'd see the Villa Jack Grealish and not the City Jack Grealish.
I mean, it's how he's now a system player, and he's not got that flair as much as he was at Villa. I mean, that's sort of why I dislike how City operate and play. I mean, it's boring. Yawn, going to bed, but for the price and the salary, no, not for me. Right. Double game review, because first, this is so painful. Chelsea women, they were on the road. They took on Liverpool and it ended in a 4-3 defeat to the Reds in probably one of the most entertaining games of the WSL season, if I'm honest. It ended our hopes of the WSL title. I'm being realistic, and it means that we do end likely. Of course, there's always a chance, but likely end the season without a trophy for the first time since 18-19. I mean, the farewell tour has certainly ended just like Woodstock 99. It's been a total disaster. For me, I don't know what went wrong, particularly on Wednesday night. I just sort of feel that, before I bring you two in, I feel that this season has been the one season where Emma has got a lot wrong, you know, from post-game comments, actions, comments to the media. And more importantly, some tactics have really baffled me. I mean, I saw 2 players against Liverpool who were just on zero stamina. Cuthbert looked like she was on her last breath. Carter as well. I mean, there's not been that. I know we've played a lot, but there's no rotation. And I think if you go through the whole of March and into April, you'll notice our lineup just barely changed. I know there's a lot of big games and you've got to win everyone, but you can't play players every single game. You have to give them rest. And I think it's cost us. That's what I feel. This is why in a month, we've gone from a quadruple to nothing. That's what I believe. I think that it's just
it does
the rotation.
feel a bit like a collapse, doesn't it?
Yeah, just been.
If I'm honest though, I think it's just. I think the game against Liverpool is just a Champions League hangover. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now that we're out of the Champions League, and that's the big one that the women's team really wanted to win, and the way in which we lost it as well just probably sapped all the energy out of the players as well. So it's, like how you win or lose a game in football can almost be important as that you win it or lose it, and the way in which we lost just in the Champions League was just absolutely brutal, and so I think that they're just still dealing with that, and we see it all the time. Teams go out of the Champions League, and then the game after they have a really difficult time. I think Liverpool, when they in fact the men's Liverpool team, when they were out of Europe, they had a really rough run of form after that, because it's something that they were still pushing for. Now that they're out of the title, Chelsea race, they had another rough run in after that, lost to Everton, for the first time in ages.
Yeah.
So,
I can see where you come from.
Yeah, I think it's about the nature of results that happened around this one, I think, rather than this result is a comment on the season as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, conceding 3 goals from 3 set pieces is just appalling. I mean, I think we conceded before this game. I think it was 2 or 3 all season. I feel like I could sort of sum this season up in a paragraph. Look, we've been hit hard by injuries. That's fair. We've been hit hard by fatigue, tactics, and just the mental exhaustion. It doesn't help Emma's had 1 foot out the door throughout the season. That's added to this challenge. She's got her mind as well set on the US job. You're kind of balancing both. And I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of this sort of farewell tour nonsense. I mean, I don't like it either. One eye is always on that. Like the focus is always going to be what happens at the end of the season. And it puts a lot of undue pressure on the players as well to make sure that they can deliver for the coach. Yeah. And we've seen it with Klopp's farewell tour as well. Like outside of like a last winner against us as well, where they managed to scrape the Carabao Cup with kids, players. They've had a really rough season for his farewell tour as well. So it's like just seems like it just puts so much pressure on the players. Yeah, I believe it does change how you play as a team. Look at Leverkusen as an interesting example. I'll quote here, because would they be pushing for that unbeaten record as hard? Obviously, they would want it, but would it be as hard if Alonso was leaving, say, at the end of the season? I mean, you know what? It's a hot take, but if you agree a deal to leave at the end of the season, and it's not Christmas, I mean, we're really early on, I kind of think you better, and this is across the board, this is across all, all leagues, everything, all managers. I think if you've agreed a deal to leave at the end of the season and it isn't even at the Christmas period, I think you should just instantly leave there and then. I do, because it does impact the team negative. I don't think I've ever seen a positive farewell tour that we know when a manager's leave. I mean, I think Ferguson probably counts, but he's Ferguson. He's 1 in 1, isn't he? Wenger's wasn't.
And
great.
to be fair with Ferguson as well, they'd pretty much won the league already.
Yeah.
Or it was like it was towards the end of the season. It's just I think it really. I do actually agree with your take, Mikey. I think if it's before, I actually think it's before Christmas. Then, even though it would affect the harmony of the team, I think I think it's more of a hindrance.
Because
it's more of a hindrance, isn't it?
So many issues in the season, and actually you could already start to then build for the next one. But instead, you've got this pressure cooker environment where the players feel the real need to perform for the coach who's given them everything, and also that they're trying to win as well. So,
and the thing is as well,
it just makes things too difficult.
The thing is as well, the media, all eyes are on you. Then the media, you've seen it with Klopp, you've seen it with Emma Hayes. They are on their back. The quadruple's on. The pressure skyrockets. Then, especially if you're in loads of competitions, it becomes an absolute boiling pot. It's so like it never works out. It never ever works out when everyone wants that fairy tale ending, but the reality is that fairy tale ending very rarely happens.
It becomes a nightmare more often.
And the pressure and the harmonies and the mentalities of the team and the managers, that they, as soon as it gets closer and closer to the end of the season, they'll be like, right, they're going at the end of the season. They're not there anymore. What am I going to do now? And you got games to play on top of that, and it's just, and you factor in like the losses involved. It's just it piles up and piles up and piles up. Eventually, it all falls to bits, and that's the problem.
I mean, if I go back to the game, it's tough. It's tough going from being competitive across all competitions to that was just over a month ago to find ourselves in this position. It sucks, and it's not the end we expected or would wanted. I thought we'd end with a trophy. I thought at least one. We'll see. We've got Bristol, and I can't remember who the other. I should really have had it on my script, but I just think City are just too strong. I think they're going to go perfect to the end of the season. I can't. And then there's the goal difference as well. Not great, but yeah. Right, from one game this week to another, and this one is our second, of course, match report of the week, and it's sponsored by Chelsea 2. But how many did Spurs score? They scored a big fat 0. I've got winners. Chris even sent in some winners, and I'm pretty sure
about 17,000, I think.
Oh, he doesn't do that many winners, only losers. So he was a bit. That's why he's not on today's show, purely because he was just so annoyed that he could not do a lot of losers. So
Enzo Fernandez is still on his loser list.
I haven't looked. But I go. Let me get my.
I'm not joking. He could genuinely be on there. I wouldn't be surprised if he's put it on there.
Hang on,
Chris. If you're listening, we love you.
No, he's not on there.
Yeah.
Wow. This is.
We do love you.
I said we love you, and Mikey said no.
Oh, sorry. We love you too.
No, we do love you, Chris. We do love you, Chris.
Right. I'm gonna go with my first winner. I've got it. It's Friday night, and the club is on fire because you can welcome to the Stat Drop Club the one and only Mark Cucurella. 9 of 9 ground duels won, 4 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a blocked shot. It was like watching a maestro conducting an orchestra. He had Brennan Johnson in his back pocket the whole game, and when it came to midfield, he was just a smooth operator. He kept possession flowing our way. Wow. You might not hear his name shouted from the rooftops. You might not. But let me tell you, he's been putting in some serious work in this second half of the season. And yeah, there've been a few bumps. That's fair. But overall, I believe he's been rock solid. And compared to last season, night and day. The improvement I've seen is just undeniable for me.
I think you've got to give Pochettino some credit for this as well, because it was an absolute masterstroke for Pochettino to try and play Cucurella in that inverted fullback centre mid role. I think it's worked so well, and he's looked so comfortable there. I think Cucurella's been fantastic, and he was going to be one of the winners, but I knew one of you lads would put it in, so I left him off. But I think it's a real genius move to to put him there and to execute the way he has done. Phenomenal. He's actually been phenomenal past 2-3 games, so I can't knock him. I've not been his biggest fan, but he's been unbelievable.
Pre-season, that was his position, and it's taken till now, and you're like, why?
Yeah, specifically, Villa and this game, I thought he had a monster class in both games. Actually, he's been proving a lot of people wrong lately, including me, because I'm one of his biggest detractors. I'm someone who has in the past referred to him very much as sort of like a liability in midfield. Sorry, liability in defence, but now he's not playing in defence.
Exactly.
It's slightly different, but if he keeps playing like that for us, we're not going to need. We can keep him on for next summer. Like, we can keep him on for the next season. Like, it just seems to me that he might finally finding his feet at Chelsea, and it was really nice to hear the chanting for him as well. Especially after last season, he was booed quite a lot, and arguably rightfully or wrongfully so. But yeah, he's been proving a lot of doubters wrong lately, and so he deserves his flowers for that.
Yeah, I mean, compared to last season where he struggled, but that was along with the rest of the team. He's shown significant improvement, and if he does maintain this level of performance, I think keeping him would be extremely wise. He's got positive energy. That could be valuable.
The one thing I will say about Cucurella is he only ever has a 10 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10. That's it. He has no.
Yeah, I can see your argument.
To be fair, though, he hasn't dropped a 1 out of 10 this season. To be fair to him, I don't think he has. I really don't think he's been that bad.
On that basis, I can't think of any specific performance that comes to mind, so I have to agree with you that. But it just seems that like he either has a really good game or a really bad one.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He seems to be ironing it out, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Ollie, who's a winner for you?
Cucurella was a winner for me, but also one of the unsung heroes probably of the second half of the season, Trevor Chalobah. Great shout. Monster performance again. Yeah, absolutely incredible performance. It's been really, really good. Like, as he's played himself into the team yet again. You got to remember he's out for 7 months at the start of the season, and now he's here. And he looks like he's been playing all season. He scored an absolutely phenomenal header from actually quite a way out. A really, really nice header. And you can see what the goal means to him as well as an academy lad. It just, every single game that passes that we watch him play, I'm thinking, is that 20 million for your profit worth it? It probably isn't. So it seems to me that, I think at this point, he has done more than actually a lot of other players in the squad to merit staying this summer.
Yeah. Berth, who's a winner for you?
I'm gonna go with this is back-to-back winners for this guy. Moises Caicedo.
Oh, he's on mine.
Oh yeah, he was my first.
My word, that boy played unbelievable again. I called him a monster the other day against Villa. He was a monster again in that midfield against Tottenham. He absolutely dominated from start to finish. He didn't put a foot wrong. Passes were brilliant. No clumsy challenges. Won the ball back so much.
He plays football like an octopus, doesn't he? Just knows every direction, knows where to go.
He is getting better and better. And Chris did say it the other day, and I do actually kind of agree with him. Caicedo's better without Enzo Fernandez. I really do believe that, because it always feels like Enzo's stepping on Caicedo's toes, Caicedo's stepping on Enzo's toes. But when he's got that freedom to just roam about and run around, almost like a Conte figure. Obviously, he's not as good as Conte. Not saying that, but he just runs up and down, tackles, wins the ball back, and he never, ever, ever stops. And if he keeps playing like that, carry on.
Sorry. No.
Carry on. No, I was just saying, if he keeps playing like that, he's got that £100 million price tag is going to be justified.
I was going to say, just to sort of take a slight sort of deviation on Chris's point. Do you think that Enzo makes him worse, or Gallagher next to him makes him better?
Oh,
I think. I think Gallagher is absolutely phenomenal. To be honest, he could have been a winner this week for me. But I think it's difficult, because I do think Enzo probably plays better without Caicedo there as well. So you could make that point that Gallagher probably makes them both better. But I just feel like it's weird. I just think that midfield three doesn't work as well as a midfield two of Caicedo and Gallagher, or Enzo and Gallagher.
That's
weird
fair.
though that Caicedo, Gallagher, Cucurella work.
Yeah, but I suppose Cucurella isn't. I know he does go into centre mid, but he is he's still playing left back, isn't he? He's still.
I guess so. He's got that defensive responsibility on the left hand side. He's not. Enzo's less aggressive. Like, if you were going to play Enzo in that group, you play him where Cucurella plays, but he's not aggressive enough to step out on the left side.
Why did I put him as a winner? I could copy and paste the same quote I say nearly every other episode. Absolutely fantastic. Has been for months. I mean, completely flying under that radar undetected. But again, you won't hear about how impressive he was because it will be, all you ever hear is the price tag. I'm so bored of it. Whatever. I don't care what you're going to do. If you're going to compare him to his price, I'm comparing to what I see on the pitch. And what I see is a top draw player who is absolutely anchoring our midfield like we expected and we wanted. And Chris picked him as well as a winner, and he put class again, dominated the midfield, used the ball well, and just looks more comfortable every game. In time, he might well be worth that price tag. Chris, did you not hear? We stop hearing about this price tag. I've got you know what? I'll just go with my third winner because it's also Chris's, and it's Pochettino. And Chris,
I know we're not supposed to have 4, but he was my unofficial 4.
Chris has put tactics were bang on, lads were motivated and he's getting more from most of the squad now. There's an argument a lot of players have improved under him. And you know what? I've got to hand Poch. I've got to hand this man a big box of flowers because he had nothing. Realistically, nothing to play for, so we're told. Injuries have decimated this squad, so much so that our bench contained not a single player over the age of 16. None of them had even kicked a ball. They were just agreed to just turn up for the day. That's how it feels like. That's how our injury list has felt. It's just...
And you know what? Whether out of necessity or not, credit to Poch for actually giving some minutes to Josh Akinfong at left right back.
100%.
Again, it's the sort of thing we're saying, why is it taking this long to a certain degree? But at least he's done it. Do you know what I mean? It's finally, it's nice to actually see some of these academy lads who we're all hearing so much about and how well they're doing. Let's see them in the first team. Let's see what they've got. And it turns out kids can play. Because that Akinfong, he could have been an honourable mention for a winner as well. On his the club, I think he did more successful blocks than any other player, and he only played for 12 minutes. Absolutely phenomenal. Really good performance from Pochettino.
We've not only beaten Spurs, we've done the double, and we beat them comfortably last night. We beat them in style. And that cherry on top of this Pochettino cake of a performance was all his tactical moves worked flawlessly, like Chris touched on. I mean, Cucurella alongside Caicedo. That's our midfield duo. Done. Get it done. Round off your winners list, Ollie.
No, Pochettino was my last one. Just wanted to say that he had a really good performance. Okay. And listen, I've been the first person to criticise Pochettino a lot this season because I don't think at times he's got the tactics right. I don't think he's done certain decisions right. And injuries haven't helped him. But you know what? Actually, in the last couple of games, Villa certainly in this one, the response since Arsenal has been really good, and that will ultimately come from him. So
100%. Berth, who's your final one then?
So I've got 2 left. I've got Alfie Gilchrist because I thought, I mean, he pocketed Son. I mean, Son didn't get a chance.
I genuinely did not notice if Son was playing. It was that good of a performance.
There's a lot.
And that's what I mean. And that says a lot. I mean, for such a young lad, you could tell he absolutely adores the club. Really good performance from him. Faultless. I know you picked a few challenges that he dove in on, but I thought he's fantastic. And the other one is Nicholas Jackson. For a bloke that gets so much stick, for a bloke that gets described as a flop, he's now got 11 Premier League goals this season, which is better than Drogba's first season. He never stops trying. He is an absolute handful. He is rapid. And his header, right, make no mistake about it, that is a difficult chance. That is not an easy header. And he's done it. He's looped it over to defenders. Fantastic finish, and it's another really good performance from him. And I will never ever let anyone slag off Nicholas Jackson because I think he is actually a very good player. And even Gary Neville last night said, "I really like Jackson," and that's what you got. He is raw. He can be frustrating at times, but there is a serious player in there. I am convinced of it. So Chris's final winner was
Noni Madueke, my man. I mean, he was a threat throughout, but he's showing real personality and a bit of shithousery with the opponents, which I love. Work off the ball was great too, protecting Gilchrist. I fully agree. So
did really well to track back, and I think he won something like 7 grounds or something like that in the game.
Ridiculous.
He had a really, really strong defensive performance. He's one of those players who's really grown into this squad as the season's gone on.
Yeah. Moving to losers. So my first loser, I've got two. I was respectful. I couldn't do 3. There was just not enough. So my first loser is Conor Gallagher haters.
Oh, thank God! If you'd said Conor Gallagher there,
look,
you really hung the lantern on that one.
Yeah. I was worried for a minute.
Look, Taylor Swift said to us, "Say it in the street, that's a knockout, but you say it in a tweet, that's a cop out." Now, I've never known a tifo to cause so much vocal outcry.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that tifo.
It's like, we don't need rival club fans when our own fan base just seem to want to eat each other alive at the first opportunity. I mean, a house divided, listener, cannot stand. And I know it is most likely a very vocal select few, but calm down.
I'm sorry. This is the only sports podcast that will quote Taylor Swift and Abraham Lincoln back.
You need to calm down. I mean, look.
But you know what's funny about those two? Taylor Swift and Abraham Lincoln are both friends of the show. So
look, icons of their time.
I mean, he's really developed since the start of this season. You know, his technical skills have improved a lot. His passing game is solid. His stats for goals and assists just speak for themselves. His work ethic is unmatched on the team. He's fearless. He's always putting his body on the line. He's so invested in the club. And I'm such a big fan of his. And he's the type of player that we should keep for the long haul. Not every player needs to be flashy to be valuable. And it's almost like Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta was not a flashy player, but he was absolutely invaluable to this. You needed him. That's why he was our captain. You know, the banner was a fantastic gesture. And look, let's hope the management upstairs recognise his contributions and just offer him that new contract. Do it. Sign. Done. Just pure profit. Bugger off. I don't want pure profit. We need Gallagher. We need players like Gallagher. We need,
Yeah. Totally agree. Totally couldn't agree more. And like, if you're getting angry about a tifo, grow up. Honestly, grow up.
People getting really wound up over that. Yeah.
You're a Chelsea fan. You're a Chelsea fan, and you're getting annoyed. Yeah, and you're getting annoyed that a homegrown talent who's playing really well, and arguably one of our best players of the season, is getting a banner. My God!
It was so silly how they were saying this is like Mason Mount. That was very different. First of all, Mason Mount was not the kind of player that Gallagher's been last season, if you compare the seasons. And I don't remember ever thinking Mount's going to sign and do. Well, I mean, I thought he would, but it wasn't ever pushed out there that he wants to stay. It was just sort of that. You know what, Ollie? Go through your losers list.
Okay, well, my first loser is Mikey. You're going to have to get the Conte alarm.
I'm happy to do that.
Anyone seen Spurs?
Has anyone seen Spurs?
Oh, it's just beautiful. I love hearing that man say that. Because for a good 65 minutes, having watched the game back, they were horrible. They were really bad. But that's as much as we did a good job as they did a bad job. And it seems Pochettino has got Postecoglou's number tactically, and that's all I really have to say on that, because it just seems that, again, in the last game we played against them this season, you know, like Postecoglou was trying like some crazy stuff with his crazy high line and things like that. This time it seemed that Pochettino out-tactics him again with having Cucurella shift into midfield. Like, it just seems to me that for all the plaudits that they get and for all the good football they've played and for where they are on the table, has anything really changed with Spurs? Not really.
Well, you know what? Can I just jump into one of my losers, because it kind of cottons onto what Ollie's saying here. My first loser is Spurs fans, because they're in meltdown now. It's coming up on my TikTok.
They were calling for a title charge at the start of the season. They were
Well done, Spurs fans. You won the league in October. Well done. You get a trophy for that. But what like the thing again. The thing is, what they're saying, that like, Son's past it now. We've got no defence other than Van
Bloody
der
hell.
Ven. We've got no midfield. They're in absolute meltdown now. They said they were rubbish last night. They thought they was going to walk all over us, but yet no, they've been Spursy again. And I don't know. I don't know what Spurs fans expect. I really don't know what they expect because they're Spurs.
The thing is, as well, is like they signed some good players. They signed James Maddison, who's one of the the best playmakers in England, and you know what? To be honest, if he was wearing a Chelsea shirt and he had the performances he'd had this season, even with his injuries, I think he'd be getting slaughtered by the media.
I can't. I mean, if Spurs fans are genuinely saying that Son's past it, I mean, the dude's 5th in goals and assists this season. He's got 25. I mean, 16 goals, 9 assists. I mean, what? Only Haaland, Salah, Palmer, and Watkins are above him. If they genuinely think he's past it, come to Chelsea, because he's nowhere near past it. He's always outstanding, But hey, whatever, Spurs fans, whatever. Who else, Berth? If you got any?
Big Ange Postecoglou is my last loser. I've only got one more.
Mate,
what? My God.
Oh dear.
Words need to start being had.
Oh dear.
Because he is a fraud. It made me laugh. Not a fraud. Okay, not a fraud. That's a bit harsh. Very, very one-dimensional. And he's
a lot of managers take over a season to get found out, but he has been found out within a season.
Yeah, he got found out at Christmas. And the thing is, right, I saw a funny meme earlier, and it was Ange's face, and it said, "When you realise you're not playing Ross County every week." And it just really made me laugh because he's got found out massively now. We've done the double over him, and it's one of the worst Chelsea sides we've had in ages. And he's going to... Spurs fans, like I said, I've seen TikToks, they're starting to turn already, and it's a worrying sign that they're starting to turn already. And saying mate over and over again is not going to keep your job. So
it's not a personality, mate.
Oh, no. Dear me. Oh, dear me.
Yeah, my last loser.
Can anyone hear Ollie?
I can't hear Ollie.
Ollie has disappeared. This is the connection issues we're having.
Has his wife finally took him back?
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay, right. I don't know what happened there. My last loser is actually the Chelsea owners. Todd Bowley, Clearlake Capital, Bedada Bali, Feliciano, Hansfield White, all of them. Because all the players that they are trying to sell are performing. Trevor Chalobah, who they have been trying to flog for the better part of a year and a half, has now played his way into the team and, is really, really performing. Conor Gallagher, who they've slapped a 50 million price tag on and refused to do it, so he won't, so he isn't signing a new deal.
Yeah.
Been on player of the season after Palmer. So it just seems to me that maybe some of these sort of pure profit players, from the academy or whatever, they deserve a bit of a second go. And if it means not spending as big in the summer and it means keeping this group together and keeping it more stable, that might be the way to go, because clearly the talent's there. Clearly the players who love the club are there, and that you need that as part of the club. And I worry, especially with Thiago Silva leaving at the end of the season, people who really understand and get the club. If you lose Gallagher and you lose Chalobah as well, I think that is massive egg on the face of the owners. I really do.
Yeah. Before I do my final loser, Chris, he said Mudryk did some okay things and was probably one of his better games, but his end product and intelligence is poor, really poor.
Yeah.
Petrovic looked nervous all night, didn't make any mistakes and made some decent interceptions with crosses, but doesn't look confident, and the defence don't look confident in him either. And finally, he's gone with Cole Palmer because he was really quiet and not his normal influence on the match. Is it a concern that he seems less effective as a 10, but with Madueke playing so well right wing, what do you do? I mean, that's very fair. I mean,
he still almost scored a worldie, though. That free kick was...
exactly.
It was very, very good.
Yeah, which, of course, then Jackson scored there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
For me, final loser is VAR. When VAR was first introduced, we were told it was there to fix the big, obvious mistakes, not to nitpick every little thing. But what do we see now? We see goals being ruled out for the tiniest of infractions, like someone's shoelace just being a centimetre offside. I mean, it's kind of like that they've forgotten why we wanted VAR in the first place. We wanted it to make sure the game was fairer, not to turn every goal celebration into a suspense thriller. You know, this obsession with microanalysis is just killing the flow of the game. It drives fans crazy. You know, we just want to see the game played fairer, if that's fair to say, you know, without all the drama and the uncertainty. Is it too much to ask? I feel like it's just time. I just feel it's time to get back to the basics with VAR. And if we cannot scrap it entirely, which I'm champion that, but whatever. We have to rewrite the rule book and how it is used and remember why it was brought in. Because look at last night, there was boos, and it wasn't because the goal was being checked. I think that's what they miss, going, oh, they're just booing because they're worried the goal will be ruled out. No, they're booing because they're being left alone. They're being left in the dark about this. Chris even touched on this in many episodes ago when he went to a game with VAR. No one knew what was going on. It's just, oh, we're just waiting. Look, I will say it, the NFL, they do it well when they go, we're checking ABC. They announce it on the intercom. And then at the end, whatever the decision is, if it's, hold in, 5-yard penalty, etc., they announce it to the crowd. And I still feel that has to be implemented. And yet still, no. I mean, how hard is it? It's just so annoying.
Doing that, aren't they?
I don't know.
Planning on doing the in-stadium announcements. I think I read that as a headline recently, that that's something that they
would be nice.
Are considering ahead of next season. I think once you have that and once you have the semi-auto offside, I think things will be a little bit smoother. But my God, it's been a bumpy road with VAR.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, we'll do the emojis. I've got a hot beverage emoji because I left the room to make a coffee and I came back to a 1-0 scoreline, proving once and for all, when I leave the room, we score. Ollie, what's yours?
My one is just I'm just going to go with a handshake emoji because for me that was one of the best performances of the season, and all you got to do is, like a gentleman, to shake the hands of the players, the manager, and say fair play. What a performance! Nice.
What about you, Berth? What have you got?
So I try my best to find a bottle emoji because that's what Spurs are. They're just a bunch of bottle jobs.
Oh my word! Naughty. Right, we move to Lion of the Week. And I had Caicedo. Yes. Berth had Palmer.
Yeah.
Chris had Jackson. So that's a trio of Lions there.
That's a Mikey dub, that is.
Yeah, I've done all right. I think you've done well there.
I've done all right. Well, next up, we've got West Ham. It's on Sunday. Who are we choosing?
Right. Don't make me regret this. Cucurella.
Do
not make me listen. Cucurella, I'm backing you here. Do not make me regret backing you here.
What about
I'm gonna go for Madueke. I'm gonna go for.
Oh no! I've got an awkward one now. I don't like this. I've got Petrovic, and I don't like this because when the goalkeeper is the best player, that's not a good sign. Oh no!
Yeah, but if he keeps a clean sheet, then that's
okay. That's fair. Okay, Quaresma's questions. We've got two good questions here. We've got FPL Sidenet podcast, which is a little plug for their pod now. They've asked, was that Cucurella's best performance in a Chelsea shirt? And I'm going to combine it with the question from Alexander. Are we finally starting to see the real Mark Cucurella?
Yes and yes.
I agree. I think that's really quick one. Yeah.
I would actually say no and yes. Because I think his best performance actually was against Dortmund in the Champions League last season.
Oh,
I disagree. I think this one's better. All round, I think this one's better.
It's certainly up there. I could argue it either way, to be fair. But I think that one was just the performance. The stage was a bit bigger, the lights were a bit brighter, but arguably the performance against Spurs was stronger. So I think it could go either way.
I'm gutted that Chris isn't on the show for this one because Gareth 1707 or 1707 has asked, another great show without Enzo. How do we solve this problem when he's back?
I think
I'd like for us to have one great show without Enzo.
I think you do. You do. I think we do just a better with a 2 and then Palmer in the 10. I think the midfield works better.
It's a tough one to answer because Enzo, look, I'll give him credit. He's been battling that hernia issue for some time. And we saw last season, he is a decent player. You know, he was solid with Argentina. He didn't fluke his way to a World Cup and an award at that World Cup. You know, I can't see us moving on from him so soon because no. However, there is a big question going forward because why would you break up the Cuckoo Caicedo duo to crowbar in Enzo? I wouldn't, but I also cannot have 100 million assets sat on the bench, or maybe I do. I don't know.
The thing is, though, when we sell Gallagher in the summer, there you go.
Oh,
Enzo
no.
comes back.
I don't
Enzo
like
comes
this.
back.
There's a spot.
No.
It's difficult, isn't it, with Enzo? Because I feel like the context of his injury now makes it so hard to judge how he's been this season. Because I think me and Chris have been his biggest detractors this season by saying, you know, he's not been doing enough.
Really?
But, like, in terms of a hernia, like, come on, his insides are on his outside. You know, like, it's hard enough to do anything with one of those, let alone play football at the top level. So, I don't know. I don't know. The injury has drawn me back in a little bit. Say, is he as bad as we think he's been this season? I don't think he's been fabulous even regardless of it. But
okay,
I don't know. I think he still has more to give.
Okay. You know what? Because Chris isn't on the show, and I feel like the winner of Lone Army Carousel should be here because he's done 3 in a row, and he might get the quad. So I'm going to park it. But this idea sort of entered my head this week, and it's something I've turned into a game, and I'm calling it Hazard's Headliners. And the concept is I'm going to pick a player who's been in the news this week, making headlines for one reason or another, and I'll give you 5 clues to guess who it is. So as the clues progress, they'll become gradually easier, helping you to sort of narrow down your options and make you guess. So the goal is to guess the player in as fewer clues as possible. Just prove that you're the football expert here, or you've just seen the news. I don't know.
So we sort of get like a guess each per question. I guess.
Yeah, I feel that's fair. I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I nearly read out the player's name because it's at the top of the questions. I've done that before. I think that was a former Blue I did that once for. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I think you did. I want to say it was Crespo you did it for.
Probably.
I think it. Yeah.
Oh man. Right. First clue is he made his full club debut on the 15th of August 2008. Literally could be any. I'm guessing no one's guessing off that.
No.
Can we take it? Can we take a wild stab anyway?
I mean, if you want.
Like, what I'm saying is if we're guessing we're wrong, we'll be out.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to say, you know what? I'll say it each clue, and if you feel that you're ready, then you can go. So he's made his full club debut.
Leave it.
Yeah, I was going to say on the 15th of August 2008. Second clue, he scored a hat-trick in the 2014 World Cup.
Oh.
Do we go to clue 3?
I'm guessing these are Chelsea players, by the way.
No.
Okay.
No.
Just anyone.
Not everyone in the Chelsea squad made headlines this week.
Okay. All right. Okay. Nia, carry on then.
He holds the record for most assists in a single Bundesliga season. 21.
I'm taking it.
21 during the 2019-2020 campaign. Now,
I'm gonna go for it. I think.
Berth, do you have an idea?
I don't know.
Okay, Ollie's taking a risk. Who did you think?
I'm gonna go with Robert Lewandowski.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
that's a
out.
good shout.
It is not Lewandowski. So Berth has got. He could win it.
So I've got two clues here, basically, to guess it.
Yeah, you got 2-3 clues. So you may as well listen to that one.
If you'd have waited for clue 4, Ollie, you would have known that it was not Lewandowski because this player won the World Cup with Germany in 2014.
Do you know what? I'm worried because Berth's got such strong ball knowledge. With every question with every sort of round that passes, I'm like, if I don't get it soon, he's going to get it.
I cannot wait for clue 5 if you get to it, because if you do not get it off that, leave.
Okay, go on then.
So, 15th of August 2008, he made his debut. He scored a hat-trick in the 2014 World Cup. He holds the record for most assists in a Bundesliga season, 21. And he won the World Cup with Germany. Do you want the 5th clue?
Yes, please.
He scored the goal for Bayern Munich in the 2011-2012 Champions League final.
I know exactly who it is now.
Who is it?
I know exactly. Is it Thomas Muller?
It is Thomas Muller. Indeed, it is. And
well
he
done.
is in the headlines this week because he's the first German player to play 150 games in the Champions League.
Wow.
Well, good for you.
I like that game. That's a good game. I like that game.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. That's fun.
That's a good
you
game.
still got to hedge your bets on guessing it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a fun one.
Awesome stuff. Right, listeners, we're at the end of another episode. Thank you, as always, for listening. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, that is us signing off. You've been listening to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At the Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.